Post Sports. I'm David Swann, sitting in for Mike Stanley. We have a very special guest today, Lacy Miller. Lacy has quite an experience set from sports in this county. Would you tell us about it?
Yes, I went to Jefferson County High School and played basketball my whole life, was the point guard there. And then after my 4 years up at Jefferson County, got a scholarship over at Carson-Newman, playing point guard there as well. And so I've kind of been in sports my whole life, so that's basically it.
Point guard, a lot of responsibility. What's it like having control of the team like that?
One of the main things of being the point guard is you're the floor general. So you're the person that everyone looks to see what's going on, whether you're calling out the play for offense or whether you're calling out what kind of defense we're supposed to be in. So, I mean, it takes a lot of responsibility and a lot of leadership, but it was something I always enjoyed doing.
And you have to know everybody's role on the team,
right,
which kind of transitions into what you're doing now, doesn't it?
Right. I am also a coach at Carter High School, and now it's almost like the same thing because I'm kind of leading them, but it's a little bit different. There's things that, I mean, as a player, I was always like, I will never make my players do that if I was a coach. And I got into coaching and I'm like, oh, look at them. I said I would never make them do that, and what am I doing right now?
Absolutely. In your high school career, is there something that just stands out, a memory that just stands out?
My high school career, probably when we were in the conference tournament and we were in the championship game. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember passing to Morgan Smith and her putting up those 3-pointers. I remember dishing off to Desiree. I remember shooting my threes. It's just something I'll never forget. And we won. And I'm MVP of the tournament, actually, that thing.
That's awesome. And you can clearly relate to what athletes are going through today because it's fresh in your memory. Playing college basketball is a wonderful opportunity. What stands out about your experiences there at Carson-Newman?
Well, with basketball season starting, a lot of exhibition games are going on right now. Probably one of the best experience, not the best experience, one of the coolest experiences is being able to go to, we went to North Carolina. Got to meet Sylvia Hatchell there, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
She also went to Carson-Newman, so there's kind of a relationship with that, and that's the reason we go up there almost every year. And then another thing we got to do was go into Thompson-Boling Arena and play in front of 2,000 plus and meet Pat Summitt my freshman year, which was awesome. Got to shake her hand, I'll never forget that. And just after all that, it's just getting in those games, it just helps us throughout the season.
Yeah. Having experiences like that has to translate into your life and give you confidence in everything you do, including your coaching, I would imagine.
Yes, and just like meeting those coaches, it's just like, I hope I'm half the person they are as coaches.
Yeah. We have some basketball stuff coming up a little bit later, and I'd love to hear your opinion on the Lady Vols this year and what to expect. And I know Carson-Newman had a matchup with them recently. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But before we do that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Jefferson County Patriot football team this year. They lost a tough playoff game. It was a tough one. First half was a really tough experience, but they bounced back. The Patriots showed a lot of resiliency coming back in the second half, and that was really illustrated by our Player of the Week this week. Would you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, our Angie Cox State Farm Player of the Week was Treyson Mills, and he kind of blocked a punt and it was just like a never give up situation.
Momentum.
Right.
Yeah, kind of fighting back.
Right.
I think that's really the story of this team this year.
I think so too.
A lot of adversity, a lot of tough situations, sometimes outmanned. I know the West game is a perfect example of that. And yet they continue to fight. They fought back in the Maryville game.
And that says a lot about them too.
Absolutely. And as a coach and a former player,
that's what you want to see as a coach. Like, you want to see your team never give up, always play hard.
Absolutely. And congratulations to that young man. Welcome to the Big Orange Breakdown, brought to you by Volunteer Spirits, located at 921 Highway 92, Jefferson City, Tennessee. Reminding you that if you drink, please drink responsibly. It was an interesting game this week with the South Carolina Gamecocks. One of those games that for Tennessee fans kind of gives you a little bit of nightmares because it reminds you of some of the losses earlier in the season. I know you were at that game. Were your emotions kind of going up and down?
First half, I was like, oh, we got this one in the bag. They come out second half, and it was like they were stuck at 17 for the longest time. I think that's like their number to get stuck at. And there for a while, I was like, this is just going to be a nightmare all over again. And
Absolutely.
then they pulled it somehow, some way. They got it.
Well, and I think that's one of the big differences, that and the competition level and some of the losses that they had earlier in the year is this game they found a way to pull it out despite some of the same things we'd seen earlier in the season, getting up big early and then losing that momentum. As a player, when you start to lose the momentum, how do you get that back? What's that like?
I mean, as a player, you mainly, it's kind of hard. It's like a team thing. It's not just like a momentum. But, I mean, with being on a team, you have your energy givers and then you have your energy drainers. And so if one of your main teammates is being an energy drainer, it's kind of hard to pick up off that because they're like one of the main people you follow. So if they're having a bad game, it's like everyone else is going to have a bad game.
Yeah, and in the South Carolina game, there were some players that normally play pretty well who didn't quite play up to their standards, and we saw that. And late in the second quarter and in the second half, we saw some problems running the ball where we were running a little bit better earlier. And some of that, I think, was at quarterback play. Not that Josh Dobbs played poorly, but I think he was a little banged up coming into that game, and he didn't run quite as well as he normally did. And I think as quarterback, kind of like the point guard on the team, when you don't quite have the same energy level, I think it affects the rest of the team, doesn't it?
For sure. It does, for sure.
Yeah. So one of the things that we can take away from that game, though, is that we won.
Right.
Okay. And we can't underestimate that.
Big SEC game.
Big SEC game, 5th win of the season. And that may not seem like a big deal, but 6 is the magic number, and we got North Texas coming to town.
Right.
And that should be a pretty easy win against North Texas. Yeah, and that gets you to 6 wins and bowl eligible. And we wanted to try to stay positive on that, even though as a fan, I think we were all a little frustrated.
Maybe we'll have a little bit of momentum from that fumble at the very end, taking it into Saturday's game.
Maybe. And in fact, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about. When you are such a favorite going into a game, and it's such a wide margin, I don't know the numbers, but I think it's almost a 40-point favorite for the Vols going into this game. How do you keep your focus? As an athlete, is it difficult to keep your focus?
I mean, you just take it like it's just any normal game. You don't look at it. I mean, if you look at it like, oh, we're going to beat this team, and then you come out and you just play flat, you don't want that. So as a player, you just want to take it as it's like you were playing Florida, for instance. You just want to take it like it's that, and you just want to keep your focus, and you want to do what you have to do to get the win.
Now, you were mentioning earlier that you've had some really interesting experiences in basketball. I'd like to shift gears a little bit here because it's basketball season.
Oh, yes. Thank goodness.
The Lady Vols, we expect big things out of them this year, don't we? And you've had opportunity to play against the Lady Vols. What's that like to go up against them?
Playing against the Lady Vols. Well, you're playing, it's almost like you're a little mice and you're running from something that's chasing you, basically. And I mean, it's a great experience. Like I said earlier, you're playing in front of like 2,000 plus people, and you have these lights. I'll never forget walking into the Thompson Bowl, and I walked out just to warm up, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need sunglasses because I can't even see right now. And I mean, it's crazy, but it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had.
What do you expect from the Lady Vols this year?
Well, they're ranked 2nd in the conference, and they're ranked 4th nationally, so I'm pretty sure everyone around here is probably expecting some pretty big things. So, I mean, that you kind of have to play with a chip on your shoulder. Kind of have to, I mean, obviously people are out to get you, so they have to come in, and I think they'll do great. Yeah,
and they have a new player eligible, a transfer from North Carolina, Diamond DeShields, and you had an opportunity might be the wrong word here. Opportunity to play against her. What was that like?
Diamond DeShields, she's a monster. She is a monster. I'm pretty sure she was in double digits when she played us.
Yeah.
She can go off the dribble. She can take you off. She can take you to the basket. I'm pretty sure she could dunk if she wanted to. But she'll be a very big help to the Lady Vols this year, so I'm excited to see what she brings to them. Yeah,
that kind of athleticism will help them match up against some of the other top teams, won't it?
Right.
Yeah. In the men's team, speaking of athleticism, we also have a new coach and a new style. with Rick Barnes, and he has brought this up-tempo basketball style. Lots of running and gunning. As a player,
running and gunning is your favorite thing to do. I know as a point guard, I never wanted to run down the court and call a play. So, I mean, this running and gunning, I think it'll really help them out if they can do it right.
Yeah. Do you think it'll help attract players to you too?
Probably, yeah. I mean, as a player, again, that's like one of the things I always wanted to do. I love getting the ball out in transition, getting it up the floor and scoring and getting right back on defense and getting another stop.
Absolutely. Conditioning. That becomes a problem, doesn't it? Or at least vital to your success in that kind of style, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, with conditioning and with running and gunning, you kind of have to, I mean, that's like doing all kinds of sprints every day, and even in preseason, that's just something they should have been doing in preseason, which I'm sure they did. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, hopefully they are worked up and we're ready to see what they have.
Absolutely. I look forward to hearing your commentary on the basketball teams, both men and women this season. Should be quite interesting to get an expert view on that.
I'm excited.
Yeah. We have some other sports locally going on as well. Some of them are related a little bit to the Big Orange because Carson Newman sometimes plays the Big Orange.
Right.
You've had that opportunity at Carson Newman, and you spoke a little bit about that. We have some other Carson Newman sports that are kind of kicking into gear right now. We have soccer going on.
Right.
And both the men and women are doing pretty well, aren't they?
Men and women's. I think it's been a little while, I'm not sure exactly how long, since the women's have made it into the NCAA tournament. And me and the men got there last year, and I think it will be, I'm excited to see what the women's team in particular does.
Absolutely. And they've been fighting through. The women's team had an opportunity to watch them about a week ago, I think, actually. And hard-fought win. If Carson Newman gets past the first round of the tournament, they may have to play Wingate again on the women's side. And that's quite a matchup this year, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, as a player, I know soccer is a little bit different than basketball, but as a player, you just kind of have to keep your focus and know, I mean, they already know what they have to do to beat Wingate. They've played them twice, and so hopefully they can pull this one out as well.
Mm-hmm. And they have a speed advantage against Wingate, and speed never really has a bad day, does it?
No, speed never has a bad day, especially in soccer, I assume.
Yeah, and that is your Big Orange Breakdown with a little bit of Eagle news thrown in there this week as well. Brought to you by Volunteer Spirits. 921 Highway 92, Jefferson City, Tennessee. Remember, if you drink, please drink responsibly.
Welcome back to our fifth quarter, brought to you by the Dandridge General Store. Also inviting you to Merriment on Main Street, which is November 21st, from 11 to 5. David, hope to see you there. Lots of fun and entertainment going on.
Absolutely, I'm really looking forward to it. And I would like to remind our viewers to stay tuned to the end of our pick segment when we have a really big announcement. What kind of games are we going to pick this week?
Let's talk about our college football first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Alabama and Mississippi State.
Ooh, Alabama, Mississippi State. Alabama, of course, coming off their big win versus LSU, where they pretty much dominated.
Keeping that momentum.
I know, keeping that momentum. Mississippi State, of course, if Alabama lets down a little bit, that could be a problem, but I don't see how Alabama's going to let down
I don't either.
with the playoffs right in front of them like this. So I kind of expect Alabama by a couple of touchdowns, really.
The next we have Arkansas and LSU, and like you said last time, LSU coming off of a loss from Alabama, so they're looking to bounce back.
Absolutely, trying to get that momentum back. They've been having one of those Cinderella seasons going on, and then boom, they lose to Alabama, and not just lose, but got beaten pretty sound. Yeah, got drilled.
So
pretty
they're
good.
looking to come out and do something this
Absolutely.
game, I believe. So.
And Arkansas plays a style that really clashes with LSU's style. They are both pound-at-you football. Should be a really physical football game. I look for LSU to rebound in this one.
I think it'll be an exciting one to watch.
Yeah.
And then Tennessee versus North Texas.
Ooh.
Homecoming game.
Yeah. You almost feel a little sorry for North Texas.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Coming off of a game where Tennessee doesn't really feel like they played up to their standards. You got North Texas coming into town under the best of circumstances. That's a difficult matchup for North Texas. I think the somewhat 40-point spread is probably about right.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
And then I think that's all of our predictions for this week with football. Yeah. So let's go into some men's basketball. Since basketball's starting up, we have UT with UNC Asheville.
Yeah, UNC Asheville has a pretty good program. Mm-hmm. That's not a gimme kind of program. But I think the Vols are going to be a little better this year on the men's side than a lot of people are giving them credit for. A little bit of the new style, we talked about that earlier. I think they're going to go out to a pretty good sized lead, and similar to what we saw in the exhibition game, I think they might lose a little bit of that near the end, but I still expect a double-digit win for Tennessee.
I hope to see a lot more aggressiveness this year anyways
Yeah.
with Tennessee. I think with the last few years, they kind of slacked off with the aggressiveness. I think they need to pick that back up, and it'll help them out in the long run.
Absolutely, and really for Tennessee men's basketball at this point, that's about all we can hope for.
Right, that's
if
all-
we get that as fans, I think we'll all be kind of happy.
Exactly. And then another basketball, Lady Vols. They're but they're playing Central Arkansas.
Yeah. Oh, again.
Another.
Yeah, that's one of those that you referred to it off camera, I believe, is the trees sometimes, right?
Right.
I think that's what Central Arkansas is going to feel like. They're going to feel like they're in a forest and they're just surrounded by players. I don't envy them in this situation, but the beautiful thing about it, and you hit on this earlier, is it'll be an experience that I think they'll remember their entire life.
Exactly.
Big win though for the Vols. Big win, perhaps top 100 in that game.
I believe that.
Okay. And with our pick segment done, now I'd like to make a really big announcement. I'd like to welcome Lacy Miller as our newest member of our Jefferson County Post sports team.
Glad to be here. It's going to be a new experience for me, and I'm excited to see just what all this brings.
Wonderful.
And with David Swann, I'm Lacy Miller, and I will see you next time.